Hey, party people. Welcome to episode number 2 of the podcast. Today's question section is going to be a little bit different in that, I got a lot of questions coming in and I can only answer so many in one episode. And I grouped these because essentially they all have the same answer. And I'm going to read through the questions really quick and I want you to think about what my answer is going to be. Should I follow my dream by studying fashion even though my family didn't support me? Should I drop out if literally nobody liked me in class? Everyone did it before me, so I'm depressed and low. How do you find the confidence to put yourself out there in an industry as critical as fashion? When is it too late to enter the fashion world? Okay. Now, the answer to all these questions are some variation of you need to believe in yourself. Let's work backwards. When is it too late to enter the fashion world? When you're dead. Okay, I got this question a lot where it's like, should I start school now? I'm already in my mid-30s. It's like, well, okay, in a few years from now, you'll be in your late 30s. Do you want to be in your late 30s with or without a degree? Do you want to be in your late 30s with or without a jump start in the fashion industry? Okay, you're going to age no matter what. Okay, what is that? The two certainties in life are death and taxes. And so we're all going to age. Aging is a blessing. Getting older and living longer is a blessing. And you're going to be older and having advanced towards your goals, or you're just going to be older and still thinking about what if. How do you find the confidence to put yourself out there in an industry as critical as fashion? Listen, every industry is critical. Every industry has a bunch of buttholes who want to give you their opinion. All right. So don't think about it as fashion is like this hypercritical, like the worst industry to be in. All industries are competitive, in particular, creative industries. And here's how I think about it. Okay. I want you to close your eyes and imagine your fashion nemesis. All right. The brand you think is just so ugly, just aesthetically, just almost objectively so ugly, you don't even know how they're still in business, okay? If they can do it, you can do it. The beauty of a creative industry like fashion is everyone has a different opinion on what looks good, okay? It's a combination of creativity, business acumen, timing, targeting your audience, all these things. I look at Ed Hardy, it's like if he can do it, we can do it. If Ed Hardy can exist and make millions and millions and millions of dollars, anyone can do it. Okay? So fill in the blank. Who is your fashion nemesis? And I want you to write a sign on the wall that says, if they can do it, you can do it. But you're a fashion nemesis in there, okay? Whoever that may be. Everyone did it before me, so I'm depressed and low. I've said this before, okay? If you really want to be inventive and innovative and really create something that does not exist, you need to be working in textile science, textile technology, creating new textiles and materials and creating new technologies to dye fabric, tan, leather, all these things in new ways, more sustainable ways, more creative ways to create different surfaces, all those things. That's where currently the future of fashion is, where innovation lies. Because the rest of it, a lot of it is styling. A lot of it is collaging. A lot of it, does already exist. However, you don't have to reinvent the wheel just to, be a real big creative or to sell a lot of stuff or to be known to have something really amazing. Anytime there is a viral foundation or a viral lipstick on TikTok, just remind yourself, these people did not invent foundation. They did not invent lipstick. Right now, Lady Gaga's foundation, House Labs, that foundation is going so viral on TikTok. Lady Gaga did not invent foundation. But she worked with chemists to create a new formulation that people are going wild over. Okay, Selena Gomez, she's the one behind Rare Beauty, right? Her blush, okay, I think it's controversial. It's like her blush is so pigmented that if you put even like 1 micron extra on your cheeks, you're gonna have too much blush on, which I think is really weird, but whatever. People love that stuff. Did she invent blush? No. Did she invent liquid blush? Did she invent cream blush? No. All these things existed before her, but she made a formulation and she made colors that are new and exciting and that make people want them. Should I drop out if literally nobody likes me in class? No, like, listen, fashion, okay, like a lot of things are a bit of a popularity contest and you need to make friends and network and all these things. But just because you're in a situation where you don't have any friends now doesn't mean that you should give up on all of your goals and aspirations. I do think you should sit down and wonder a little bit and self-reflect why nobody likes you in class. Like maybe you did something and you're not even aware of what you did, but maybe you did something that, upset a lot of people. Maybe there is a really, untrue, crappy rumor that's going around that maybe you can correct. But honestly, put your head down and try to make your best foot forward with new people moving forward. When you meet new people in new classes, try to make friends that way. But really, put your head down and get to work and believe in your ability to create and work hard. Should I follow my dream of studying fashion even though my family didn't support me? Well, at this point, it kind of matters how much your family supports you in terms of your livelihood. Like, are they the only people who can put a roof over your head? I don't know the age of the person who wrote me this question, but, a lot of those factors are, like they're important. But at the end of the day, even if you have to wait and bide your time a little bit while you're living under your parents' roof and you're studying to finish high school, studying whatever degree your parents forced you into, whatever, there comes a point where you have to live for yourself. You have to believe in yourself and you have to live for yourself. Your parents are not going to live your life for you. So, depending on how old you are and how financially stable and independent you are, this answer is going to be a little bit different. But you do need to believe in your ability to make a career and make a living off of what you love. And for most well-meaning families, and I know not everyone is blessed with a well-meaning family, I get that, but for most well-meaning families, they're just worried that you're going to enter this field that is, an unknown. It's not stable and predictable like, say, being a doctor is, being a lawyer is. People the world over are always going to need doctors and lawyers. And so that is a profession that is stable and predictable. And creative fields are not. And so they're just worried about you. And what you need to do is work your butt off to prove to them that you can create a living in this field, that you can study hard, that you can be financially and emotionally independent while pursuing this field. You have to prove it to them. Okay? That's really the only way to go about it. You need to believe in yourself, you need to work hard, and you need to pursue it and prove your family's wrong. Okay? So that's the theme today, is you need to look inside yourself and be like, do I really want this? Okay. I made a video before called Is Fashion Worth It? And at the end of it, it was a matter of, is fashion important enough that you need it in your everyday life? And if you do, what can you do to make sure that it will stay a part of your everyday life? I wrote this note to myself. Questions, to which the answer is stop giving a F about other people, put your head down and do the work. Notes to self. Today's story of the day is a little bit educational and a little bit sassy. And, I'm a teacher. I'm all about the education. So, of course, my stories have to be education. And so this story takes place about, definitely over 15 years ago. 17 years ago? A long time ago, okay? But I've been around fashion and doing stuff for a long time, okay? And this story takes place at a trade show, so I'm gonna tell you a little bit about trade shows. And you might be saying, well, Zoe, you're a fashion designer, and you told me that designers don't really go to trade shows. And you would be correct. Thank you for paying attention. But this was a special circumstance, and I'm gonna describe it to you, okay? At the time, I was in my mid-20s, and at the time I worked for this company that had two main branches. And in one branch was their fashion division, and we did primarily outerwear, and we sold outerwear at kind of like a low designer, high contemporary, price point. We sold to Barney's, rest in peace Barney's, Nordstrom, a lot of individual, independent boutiques all over the US. We had a massive fan base in Japan. So that was the fashion division. Now we had a promotional products, branded products division, and it was all the same products done in the fashion section, but they were made a little bit more cheaply with, slightly less expensive materials, things like that. And they were branded and, for example, Google would come and be like, we want 300 jackets for our employees with the Google embroidery on the chest. Okay. And so we would take an existing style of ours that they would order, and we would get them all embroidered and sell it to them for that market. So that was a very different market, but the products were very similar. And this trade show I went to was for the promotional products industry. It was the PPAI show. Some people call it ad specialty, branded products, promotional products. It's that whole world. And so that industry is everything from little big pens with your logo printed on it all the way to diamonds. I remember expressly because the diamond guy was next to our booth at the trade show, and the salesperson I went with, her 10-year anniversary was coming up, and she was trying to learn more about diamonds so she could hint to her husband that she needed an upgrade on her ring. Anyway, so they sent me with a salesperson because they wanted someone to talk to the customers about any sort of customization that they might want to have on their jackets. When you shell out and you want to do 500 jackets for your employees, 100 jackets for your employees, sometimes they want to do different things, like they want a different fabric, different color. Sometimes they want to change the zipper and make it buttons or snaps instead, or vice versa. They'll ask questions like, can we get a different collar? One customer, they loved everything, but they didn't like the leather, so they would remove all the leather bits and replace it with the self fabric trim, things like that. And I was to go and answer any questions that the customers had about customization. Like, can we do this? Can we do that? And I will say, yes, that's possible. Yes, that's possible, but will be more expensive. The embroideries could only be a certain size. There's a lot of things going on there, but I was far better equipped to answer those questions than the salesperson. Trade shows are hard work. Listen, if you ever go to a trade show, whether you're walking the show or whether you're setting up a booth, your best friend is going to be amazing, comfortable shoes. Okay? I don't care what you want to wear to the trade show. You pick out the best, most amazing, most comfortable, most durable, most will stand by you, ride or die shoes, and then you work your wardrobe around the shoes. I promise you that is the number one piece of advice for anyone going to a trade show. Any trade show, any industry, I promise you. Also, you should probably take a nice pair of shoes because really the schmoozing happens at the parties after the actual trade show. I got along really great with our salesperson. Let's give her a fake name. Let's call her Shelly. We had a great time. She's about 10 years older than me. She had a couple of little kids at home. And so it was really, fun for her to get out of the house and just not be mom and just be, selling. She's such a good salesperson. She can talk to a tree stump and get them to sign paper. It was amazing. We were staying at the Mandalay Bay. And then, of course, this was, more than 15 years ago. So this was pre-Uber, pre any of those car rideshare apps. And so the day we're all leaving, there is a taxi line in front of the Mandalay Bay, like 17 miles long, because we are all leaving the trade show at the same time. We are all going home at the same time. And so we are queued up forever. And my salesperson, Shelly, like I said, she can talk to anybody. So she starts talking to these two guys behind us. And the four of us are just chit-chatting. We've got all our suitcases. This guy comes over and he's like, hey, are you guys going to the airport? And we're like, yes. He's like, you need a ride? Because, of course, the taxi line is like 100 miles long. And he's like, I got a van. I can give you a ride. $15 per person. That was a reasonable rate for all things considered at the time. And so we all kind of look at each other and we're like, okay, let's go. We don't want to miss our flight. And so we follow this guy to like a separate parking lot. If you know anything about Vegas casinos, like behind the casinos are like a real maze of parking lots and parking structures and whatever. So we go to this other section of the lot and we're like, oh my God, where are we going? And I know, looking back, we probably shouldn't do as I say, don't do as I do, okay? So we followed this guy. But safety in numbers, right? We figure we're 4 people. We could take one guy, okay? We could take one guy, okay? So we get to the van, and lo and behold, it is a party bus. Those big buses that are like a short school bus, or like a kind of like a low to the ground RV, like those party buses. It's white and it has like blazing purple logos on the outside. So that did reassure me a little bit, because it looked like a legitimate business van as opposed to just like, a crusty, rusty, whatever van. But it looked like a legitimate business with snazzy signage on the outside, and on the inside, it was absolutely one of those buses where bachelorette parties would rent out and party in there. Everything was covered in black glittery velvet, and like all the bench seating. There were all these like refrigerators and coolers and, neon lights. Everything was like purple, and there was 2 disco balls, one closer to the front, one towards the back. There was those, those colorful rotating strobe light thingies you see at Korean karaoke, the norebang lights, okay? It had a bunch, like one in each corner, big speakers, and, of course, a stripper pole. And Shelly, because Shelly is Shelly, I adore her, I think if she and I we're like the same age and we met in college, we would not have survived. Yeah. Anyway, so Shelly bangs on the partition and yells at the driver, hey, let's get this party started. And I was like, oh no. And so the guy, he cranks everything up, and all of a sudden everything turns on. The lights turn on, the disco balls start spinning, and the strobes start going. And, this is like early 2000s. It's all DMX and Britney, and it's like thumping wildly. And let me tell you something, okay? I am turning 43 real soon, December 9th. So I am a Gen Y person, and, you may call me a geriatric millennial, okay, older than an elder millennial. I'm Gen Y, and let me tell you, I can't speak for everyone, but most people Gen Y and older, we are quite happy that video cameras were not in everyone's pockets during those days, so that there was not video footage of every single moment of our lives. It's called plausible deniability, isn't it? I don't know. Whatever. All I'm saying is I'm just really glad that there's no video footage of that ride to the airport. It was the most fun I've ever had driving anywhere, to be honest, and I've gone on quite a few road trips. It was a good time. But yeah, trade shows. Exhausting, can be fun if you're with the right people. Today's rant of the day, I have a mini rant and then I have a major rant. Okay, the mini rant is, why do brands have an XXL and a 2XL for the same style? Okay, I know why they do it, but I don't know why they do it, okay? The first part, I know that they do it because what I'm guessing is they created a style and they made it, extra small to extra, like XXL. They made that size range. And then they decided at some other point in time that they were going to do a plus size, or they decided at the same time they were going to do a plus size. And for the plus size range, they need a different pattern, which is the correct way. Okay, you need a fresh pattern. The pattern needs to be crafted for plus size bodies. Okay. And so they did a whole different range, trying to create the same exact style, but with a plus size pattern, which is fine. But I think it really confuses people when you have a XXL and a 2XL, and the sizes are not the same. But you have the listing there where it says this style, and it is available extra small to XXL, and then 2XL, 3XL. It's stupid. Stop it. Anything you do to confuse customers, you lose customers every step of the process. And if at any point you make things confusing for customers, you're gonna lose one. You lose like 1%. You lose 0.5%, and the bigger your brand gets, that 1% becomes a bigger sales hit. It's stupid. Stop doing it. Okay. Create one size range. Like a continuous size range. Like in my what is mid-size video, I had a continuous size range. Whether your numbers go from 0 to 40 or XXL to 10XL, whatever that is, just make it one continuous thing, okay? Stop confusing people. Stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid if you do it. I think that thing is stupid and it confuses people, okay? So, all right, here's the big rant of the day. And I think that this is, kind of a theme that's been happening in particular this year. It's kind of culminated just now. But I want to talk about gimmicks. There's good gimmicks and there's bad gimmicks. All right. I don't think you can just say something is gimmicky and put it all in one category. Okay. For example, I think most of you have heard about the Caperni show right now, where Bella Hadid came out in just underwear and they spray painted a dress. When the dress spray paint dried, it turned into a soft fabric and she walked down the runway and you could tell the fabric really moved with her. And tons of people were screaming that it was gimmicky. It was a gimmick. It was absolutely a gimmick. But the conversations that came out of that so-called gimmick were really interesting and fascinating to me, because people were talking about making things. People were talking about craftsmanship. People were talking about sustainability. People were talking about technology where you can spray paint a dress and then it turns into fabric. And people were talking about, oh, we've done this before. And people were talking about, oh, but this is better. They did it better than the other one. This one is better. This one is worse. This one is, no improvement. This is ugly. This is pretty. This was so cool. This was a knockoff of the Alexander McQueen show. No, this was different enough that it paid homage, but it was definitely its own thing. There were so many interesting conversations about, intellectual property, sustainability, the technology of textiles, and the future of making. And I thought that was great. Millions of people who had never heard of Caperni before, they are absolutely going to be paying attention to the show that they put out next season. They got so much brand attention. Of course, I have no idea how much that turned into sales. I haven't deep dived into any of that. But Caperni is now something people have in their brains. They're going to expect something different and cool and controversial. And I think that's a good gimmick. It's a gimmick that catches people's attention, and people are having really interesting conversations about fashion because of this gimmick. Okay? And then there's BS like this Balenciaga thing, where if you don't know, I'm not going to post the pictures because they're disgusting. But just Google Balenciaga lawsuit, Balenciaga drama, Balenciaga whatever, Denma apology, whatever. You'll see it, okay? So basically, Balenciaga came out with an ad campaign that was really gross, and it looked like child porn. Yeah, and it became a blame game, and people were pointing fingers, and, the creative director had to issue an apology, and, Kim Kardashian was involved, and I really try not to think about her a lot. People are like, Demma courts controversy to get people to pay attention to the brand, blah, blah, blah. And that's like a marketing gimmick that has nothing to do with interesting conversations about fashion. They court drama if that's what they were trying to do. I do not believe for 1 second that they did not know what they were doing. I really don't. All these conversations about who's to blame and how they can stop this, it's like, these are not interesting conversations to me. Okay? Of course, the conversation about how we do not let this happen in the future, it's a good conversation to have, absolutely, because I don't want any child porn to be created ever. But I don't think that's the conversation. The conversation is to just get people to stop trying to create these gimmicky marketing campaigns that court controversy and drama and get people talking. Okay? You can create controversy by creating interesting images that have nothing to do with the exploitation of specific individuals or groups. Okay? Make something interesting, like the Coperni thing. Like, make something that's like teetering on the edge of something. Like, that was cool because it was very controversial, and it still is. I'm sure I'm going to get some angry comments, about the whole Coperni thing here. That's fine, because we're talking about fashion. Okay? We're having a conversation about fashion when it comes to the Coperni stuff. When it comes to the Balenciaga stuff, we're just talking in circles. We're giving a brand attention that they don't deserve. Make the clothes, man. Make the clothes. As I said before, everyone has a different opinion on what cool clothes are, okay? There are general consensuses, whatever, but a lot of people have different tastes. Make the clothes. And that's it for today. Please like, share, subscribe, all the ways you show me love. Drop your questions and comments below. Let me know if there are any questions that you would like me to answer in a future podcast episode, or a subject you would like me to make a video on. And I will talk to you soon.